Well, this particular week in the NFL, we can say it has gone to the dogs as the puppies have absolutely dominated so far, both on the field and in Vegas, going 8-4-2 against the spread so far. And guys, we have had underdogs not only covering, but winning the damn games outright. San Diego started the trend last Thursday night with the upset of Denver. Yesterday, we had New Orleans, Jacksonville, Washington, Miami, Dallas, all winning those games outright as puppies. We had a couple of pushes, but in reality, they could have been wins for you as well if you were wise and heeded my advice that I've been giving you over the years of buying that half point when those lines cross 3, 4, 7, and even sometimes 10. And of course, I'm talking to those of you that were betting on the games between Detroit, LA, and last night between Houston and Indianapolis, because those numbers were solidly on 3. Hell, even yesterday, that New York-Baltimore game, that game was anywhere between 3, 3.5. If you bought the half point, particularly on the Lions game with the Rams and, of course, Texans and Indy last night, you easily turned a push into a win, no matter which side you were on. And again, I realize I'm preaching to the choir. You either agree with me at this point or you don't. And again, let me just emphasize, again, if you are betting 7 or 8 games on a Sunday card, it is not a particularly sound strategy for you from a financial standpoint. But if you're just betting that one particular game, it is just absolutely insane for you not to follow the strategy, to buy that half point down and to walk away with a win instead of settling for a push, or in some cases, settling for a push instead of being saddled with a loss, because it certainly would have paid off yesterday. But again, the dogs certainly had their day. And I always say when the underdogs are cashing in at a rate as they have this week in the NFL, only 2 things are happening, and neither one of them are good from a gambling perspective. Sports books are winning a lot of money, and gamblers are generally losing their shirt, because I think natural human inclination, the tendency of gamblers, always is to gravitate towards favorites. Yesterday, the only chalks to actually get the job done, Kansas City, New England, the Giants by the skin of their teeth, and the Buffalo Bills, who happened to be my best bet yesterday. Home teams went 7-5-2 against the spread. And, hey, one of my favorite little statistical anomalies, the straight-up winners, well, they went 10-2-2 versus the odds makers. Listen, the key featured play today in terms of a promotional play, Steve Buden's Cali Cartel. Well, they won again last night. Their Sunday night game of the year, part number 3, cashing in. They were on the Houston Texans last night. They instructed you, well, not they did, Steve Buden, former bookmaker, the guy who created the offshore sportsbook betting industry that you now know today, a guy whose father also was one of the world's biggest bookmakers as well. He simply, as usual, instructed you to buy down the half point, and it paid dividends with the Texans. The Cali Cartel, they delivered with their Sunday night game of the year, part number 3. They were one of the featured discounted plays yesterday. They have their Monday night odds makers game of the year, part number 2, going tonight on the game between Arizona and the New York Jets. Part number 1 was a couple of Mondays ago when they had Minnesota getting the job done at home against the New York Giants, laying 4, winning that game 21-10. And today it is the half price play of the day, and you can get it for half price simply by using coupon code. This is real original. It's the word half, HALF. You can check it out over on the homepage and get all the other discount codes and promotions as well. Unfortunately, yesterday, one of the big featured plays, Brad Wilton, who has been on one hell of a roll here for the past 15 months or so, he had his 150 dime winner, number 24 out of 32, his 4th straight in the NFL this season. He was unfortunately on the wrong side of the Seattle-Atlanta game. As I always like to say, if I can tell you the good, I've got to at least tell you the bad as well. Now, let's talk about your action here today. Listen, my best bet happens to be on the side tonight between Arizona and the New York Jets. I've got a free play coming up here on your game number 3 of the ALCS between Toronto and the Cleveland Indians. In terms of your total tonight, I'm not enamored with this play, guys, but I've got to go with the under here at 46. And again, I'm not particularly enamored with it. I will tell you that I'm 14-7-1 with my free plays so far in the NFL after going with the Texans yesterday, going with the Patriots yesterday, losing with the Eagles, so 2 out of 3 yesterday. This number sitting right around 46.5 points. It was 47 earlier in the week. You've got Carson Palmer coming back at quarterback here tonight for Arizona. This Arizona offense simply has not clicked this season. Coming into the season, I don't think anybody would have expected that, because you would have looked at the Cardinals and thought, my God, you got Carson Palmer, you got David Johnson at running back, you've got a bevy of strong wide receivers, starting with Larry Fitzgerald. You would have thought this would be a high-scoring team as it was a year ago. But other than the Game 2 blowout, the Week 2 blowout of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they put 40 points on the board, this has been a pedestrian offense. Sure, they scored 33 points last week against San Francisco, but 3 Blaine Gabbert turnovers led to 3 of those touchdowns. Otherwise, 21 points in Week number 1 in the loss at home to New England, 18 points in the road blowout loss at Buffalo, 13 points at home against LA Rams, a game in which they shot themselves in the foot. They put 400 and some total yards on the board, but 5 turnovers not only cost them offensively, cost them the damn game as they lost outright. So Arizona has certainly had problems scoring so far this season. Now, you have the Jets. The Jets love to give it with all the turnovers. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 10 interceptions so far this season, a pass defense that is ranked 31st in the league, a run defense that's ranked number 1 in the league. A team that offensively has struggled because once Matt Forte, productive in the first couple of weeks of the season, got nicked up, they haven't been able to run the ball consistently. Eric Decker, the number 2 wide receiver, on the injured reserve. So you have a team that hasn't been able to score consistently. In fact, last 3 games, the Jets have only totaled 33 points. The Jets' defense the last 3 games has allowed 82. So I'm looking at all these numbers here, and it has me leaning toward the under in this particular game, sitting at 46, because I don't see a shootout here. I just don't see that happening. I think this is a game that these two teams will be hard-pressed to combine for more than 42, 43 points. By the way, how about last night's game in terms of if you had the over? I mean, did it have any hope of going over early in the fourth quarter? I mean, if you're sitting there, Matt Rivers was one of the discounted plays last night. He had a play on the over in that contest. Did it look good there? And then suddenly you have that missed extra point by Novak coming back. You thought it would never factor into the decision in that game, but thank God it did, because it was missed early. That resulted in a tie score that forced the overtime where, hey, naturally, the field goal, any score was going to push it over, which it did. So it came back to be a winner. But back to tonight's game, I do like the under. That's the way I would play it if you forced me to go with the total on the game. Now, Toronto tonight, down 2-0 in a series where a total of 5 runs have been scored in the first 2 games, both won by the Indians at Progressive Park. The way I would play this tonight would be taking Toronto plus $1.05 on the run line. Only because I'm not a Trevor Bauer fan. I wasn't a fan before he cut his pinky on his pitching hand, playing with his drone, forcing him to be scratched from his Game 2 scheduled start, and I'm not a fan of him now either. This is a guy whose earned run average post-All-Star break was 5.36. In his Game 1 start against the Red Sox in the ALDS, he allowed 5 hits, 2 of them homers, and 3 runs in 4 2/3 innings of work. Now, he had a 7.11 earned run average in 2 previous career starts at the Rogers Center in Toronto. Marcus Stroman going for the Blue Jays. I like the fact that he pitched well in a pressure-packed situation in the wild card game at home against the Orioles a week and a half ago, allowing 4 hits and 2 runs in 6 solid innings. He had a 1.29 earned run average in 2 starts against the Indians this season with 15 strikeouts and 14 innings of work. Listen, the Blue Jays, had 22 runs scored in a 3-game sweep of the Rangers in the ALDS. I know the Indians have won 8 straight games. I know they are 6-0 in the postseason. I know the Blue Jays have not scored in the first 2 games of the series. I know that their offense has been missing in action. But I also know that the Blue Jays are a hell of a good hitting team. I just think that they're going to be able to put some runs on the board tonight against Bauer. Well, I'm certainly not going to play them at minus $1.85, so the only way to go ahead and back the Blue Jays tonight is to play them on the run line, and that's what I would suggest to do. So the two complimentary plays, the Blue Jays on the run line, the game tonight between the Cardinals and the Jets. Under of the two, I like the Blue Jays on the run line more at plus $1.05 as the underdog price. That'll do it for Monday. I'll talk to you again tomorrow when we do this one more time. Good luck, everybody.